Good morning, Matt. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. Okay, good. Welcome to this morning's meditation. I thought I would do a little meditation that's based on the Sunday teaching. Some of you may not be attending the Sunday teachings, but that's perfectly fine. I'll give you enough background to be able to work with this idea of cutting off desire. How do we have some thoughts that begin to address that pattern that we have in our lives that really keeps us from making good use of this life, having more dharma in our life, what have you. Okay, so again, everyone, please be sure to turn off your microphones so can have a good meditation for everyone. Let's go ahead and begin as we usually do with just a few minutes of silent meditation. You can work with the breath if you'd like, and I'm sure many of you have a technique you already use with the breath. If you need a suggestion, tune into the sensation around the area of the nostrils where you feel the air coming in and out, and just making that your meditation object. Try to stay present with it as best as you can. Whenever you notice that the mind wanders away, gets distracted, then the job at that time is to simply guide the mind back, let go of whatever it was that distracted you, and restore your meditation on the breath. So I'll ring the bell to begin the meditation. I'll come in a few minutes. So we can set our motivation and do this meditation on cutting off desire. So now let's set our motivation for doing meditation this morning. And recall how we have this amazing potential in this life to do things that will help us to procure future happiness for ourselves, as well as to be of great benefit to helping others to have the happiness that they seek. We want to set a motivation that is in line with this, that desires to achieve the greatest welfare for all sentient beings, and the recognition that to do this, we do have to work on ourselves. We do have to become more qualified. And as we're going to explore in this meditation today, we need to address this beginning sort of block that we have in our lives that keeps us from being fully engaged in the Dharma. So we're going to do this meditation today with that greater motivation of being able to benefit all beings, within the recognition that we have to start with ourselves. We have to start with where we're at right now and see our own shortcomings of following this mind of desire, so we can make this life as meaningful as possible. So in the first part of this meditation, we're simply going to examine how desire plays a role in our own lives. Desire, attachment, craving. These are the words we use to describe this affliction, this state of mind where, in relation to something that is pleasant, we think that the pleasantness is inherent within the object, and moreover, we exaggerate, superimpose greater pleasantness than what is actually there. And then we seek to acquire that object, whatever it is that we are seeing as pleasant, and not be separated from it, continue to experience it. So begin by exploring how desire plays a role in your own life. You can think about the 8 worldly dharmas that we've spoken of on Sunday class, the things that we get preoccupied with in terms of material gain and avoiding material loss, having comfort and avoiding discomfort, having a good reputation, avoiding a bad one, having praise and avoiding criticism. But otherwise, just simply examine your own life and see, what are the things that you are attached to? How does desire play a role in your life right now? And just choose 1 or 2 of them to work with in this meditation as we go through the process of seeing the shortcomings of that mind of desire. So spend a few minutes investigating that. So then hopefully we've identified 1 or 2 patterns of desire in our own lives. And the first way that we see the shortcomings of desire is to recognize that it doesn't really do what we think it does. The mind of desire goes chasing after those pleasant objects, thinking that we're going to obtain greater and greater happiness, that eventually we'll be satisfied. But it only leads to dissatisfaction. And in the moment, it blocks us from having the real peace and happiness that would be there from a mind that is free of desire. Desire is a disturbing state of mind. Because it's involved with pleasure, we are often blind to that reality. So, in the next few minutes, examine in terms of your own experience when desire arises towards that pleasant object or objects that you've identified that are a pattern in your life. Does it provide any real peace, happiness? What would it be like to be without that desire in that moment? Again, we're not talking about removing the pleasure. We will have pleasure in our lives. We're talking about our relationship to pleasure, the mind that craves that pleasure, that exaggerates that pleasure, that doesn't want to be separated from that pleasure. So spend a few minutes investigating to see if you can identify the way that it only leads to dissatisfaction and actually blocks us in the moment from having peace. And then another way that we can begin to see the shortcomings of desire in regard to ourselves is to recognize that there are many other states that become problematic when we are driven by desire. Many other afflictions can arise. We may even engage in actions on the basis of those. So, for example, when the mind of desire is driving us, and think about again in relation to your own situation, how frustrated do you get, maybe even angry, upset, when the mind of desire doesn't get what it wants? Do you become jealous of others who have more than what you possess in regard to your objects of desire? Do you have pride in regard to what you do possess? You can see all these other delusions frequently are tied into the amount of desire that we have, the attachment we have. And of course, sometimes we even engage in actions on the basis of those afflictions. We get angry and upset when the mind of desire doesn't get what it wants, and we say and do things that we regret. This doesn't cause us to feel good at all. So, how does desire lead to happiness when this is the case? So, here too, spend a few minutes investigating how desire can become the source for so many other afflictions, and identify them quite specifically, the ways that those have arisen in your own experience. See them for what they are, that they are harmful, that they only lead potentially to even greater suffering through the actions we engage in on the basis of them.
And then we can also consider how not only does desire and being driven by that mind cause problems in this life, never creates any real satisfaction, keeps us in this unpeaceful state, causes us to have non virtuous actions, but moreover, it blocks us from really practicing true Dharma. It keeps us in this mode of creating the causes for future suffering, the causes to continue to be bound up in samsara, and moreover, to not be able to achieve enlightenment for the welfare of others. All of our future happiness is blocked. And in fact, what it means to practice Dharma is to be dedicated to future happiness, the happiness of lives beyond this one, but moreover, the happiness of liberation, enlightenment, the goals that we can achieve through following the Buddhist path. But if we stay preoccupied with these objects of desire and continue to strengthen that mind, we will never be able to practice true Dharma. Instead, we will only be engaged in this worldly Dharma, only be attached to the happiness of this life. So here, think about the larger ramifications of continuing to follow this mind of desire and what ways you've identified that are operative in your own life. Just see if you have some conviction that those states of happiness beyond this life are blocked as long as you continue to follow desire. So in this investigation, we've seen these three major faults or shortcomings of desire: that it only leads to greater dissatisfaction, keeps us from having peace, that it gives rise to further afflictions and actions that we engage in on the basis of those, and that it really blocks us from practicing true Dharma, from progressing on our path. And then we can also certainly consider the effect that our following desire then has on others, because we are blocked from being able to progress on the path, we are unable to help them to the greatest degree. But hopefully in this, we've begun to see that desire is not a mind that we want to continue to strengthen. In fact, we have to weaken it. We have to cut it off. And so spend these last few minutes trying to make a determination about how you will go about doing that, by recalling these faults, by being aware of these shortcomings, so that when desire begins to arise, especially in the ways that you've identified are operative in your own life, be able to see that it's going on, and by virtue of that, lessen it, if not get rid of it in the moment, so we can put our attention into achieving the happiness of Dharma and not be consumed with the happiness of this life. And let's dedicate all the positive potential we've created by doing this meditation, so that we ourselves and all beings can eventually be free of not just desire, but all the afflictions, all of the obscurations, can know the true peace and happiness that will come when all beings have attained the state of enlightenment. We dedicate also for our precious guides, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Geshe Thupten Sherab, Venerable Rabina, all the other teachers we and others have in their lives. May they have good health and long lives, and may we always continue to benefit from their presence in every lifetime. And also we dedicate for all those beings that we're holding in our hearts right now, those who are experiencing the varieties of suffering, having obstacles, illness, who are dying or who have died recently. And we bring them to mind so we can dedicate this positive potential for their welfare, to remove whatever suffering they are experiencing and to bring them the causes of complete peace and happiness. And may all beings find true peace and happiness through what we've done here today. Okay, thank you all so much, everyone. Have a very wonderful day, good week, and I will see you all again soon. Stay safe, be well.